Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another workout. Today is my pull days. You guys know I'm going over to a 4-day-a-week push-pull, and some of these exercises I'm going to have to build work capacity. I'm going to have to build strength. This is my first day deadlifting again. I did notice, again, a little fatigue in my lower back, and the hook grip is going to take me a few weeks to get it back up to speed. So we're going to take it slow on the deadlifts, and then I'm going to have to work on the hip thrusts. I did increase the weight on those today. I went up 50 pounds, for my work sets, and I'm still learning to get into the position and everything, but the exercise is feeling really good. Pull-ups. Even though I dropped 10 pounds down to this 45-pound plate doing 5 sets, I don't quite have the work capacity for that. All right, and I've noticed my delts are extremely fatigued from yesterday. For me, the pull-up is actually a delt exercise. People can argue about it all they want, but for me, I feel pull-ups in my delts and my biceps more than anything else. And it's kind of funny because I'm actually known for having pretty big back for people who actually have seen it. My back development's pretty big, but I don't feel back exercises in my back, and that's kind of the funny thing. But for me, the pull-up, biceps and delts. My delt, especially my left one, was just throbbing on every single set. And I felt like they were really a bit of a weak link. So I'm going to have to get used to doing pull-ups the next day after doing limit sets on the press. That was a lot of volume for my delts yesterday. And I'm going to have to do these the next day. Normally I do pull-ups, then I do the press. So they're almost a warm-up for my delts. But I'm feeling it today. So when you're splitting things a little bit, these are things you're going to have to deal with. So I'm going to have to get used to this, and I'm going to have to build my work capacity up on pull-ups to be able to do 5 sets. Because this is essentially going to be a 5x5. All right, this is going to be a 5x5 other than things like the deadlift, the curls, because I don't want to do a lot of deadlift volume. Because I'm doing 10 sets. I want to build to 10 sets of 5 big exercises every week. That's not going to leave me a lot of recovery for the deadlift. So it's going to be basically for now the dips, the back squat, the press, the pull-up, and the hip thrust. And I really want to maximize my work capacity on those, and then we're just going to build peak strength on the deadlift, with 3 to 5 rep sets. So I'm just going to do just one peak set on the deadlift, and it's going to be limited somewhat by my hook grip, and it's going to be limited by my lower back recovery after that pull. So things that we're going to need to keep up with, and I probably need to address some of the silliness on my squat. It's always like no matter what I do on my squat, people want to comment on technique, and then I come in and I totally change my technique on my squat, right, so that I have no thoracic rounding or anything, and then people are coming in and like, oh, your knee goes past your toes. Like anyone who thinks that your knee tracking past your toes on a parallel or deeper squat, especially a high bar who thinks that's a problem, probably needs to learn how to squat. You don't understand the exercise. That is not risky for your knees. It's only risky for your knees when the knees track past the toes and you're doing half squats with more than your 1 rep max. For a full range of motion. Totally different beast, guys. That knee tracking past the toes is totally fine at lower depths. But back to the current workout. This 4th set, I just didn't have anything. I got to that 3rd rep. You notice I'm not even able to get to the top. I noticed that too, looking at the footage. I'm not getting all the way up. This 4th set just was all I could handle. I was done. So we're going to have to build work capacity on this. And that work capacity building on these exercises is going to matter. I'm having to increase my total training volume by doing 4 days instead of 3. That is going to matter. So when I'm talking about regaining some lost muscle, I don't mean I'm going to bulk. I mean I'm just going to cut my calorie deficit a hair smaller, and I'm going to do more training workload to regain some of the muscle I lost in the early part of the cut, because I lost muscle early on. I didn't lose any in this last part other than my lower body, but I gained it in my upper. So I know that I'm able to gain some muscle off muscle memory, right? Because we didn't regain new muscle in the upper body. I regained muscle I lost from the initial part of the cut when I was 250 plus, right? That's what I regained. So I know that the muscle memory can be regained when I'm doing slower portions, slower fat loss. So that's what we're going to do. And the whole point of that is building work capacity, building energy turnover, keeping my metabolism high. And it's not because of metabolic damage, it's due to muscle loss. But if you can maintain a high work capacity and have as much muscle as possible, it's easier to cut. You can keep your calories higher. And then you never have to starve yourself. And that's kind of the point. I don't want to starve myself to get down lower. I want to keep my food intake as high as I can reasonably get away with. so it feels less restrictive, and I'll just put in the extra work on the training side and put in the extra recovery time sleeping. But the deadlifts, I didn't go too heavy. It's my first day doing a conventional deadlift again, and I definitely felt it there. The lower back, it's not painful, but it was cramping a little bit, but it went away within 15 minutes. So I was able to go on and do my hip thrusts. Now this first set's a little lighter, and I'm really trying to get into that position. I haven't done these since last week. So I want to learn this exercise. We're going to build this exercise up, and there's going to be a learning curve to it, you know. Felt like even on those, I wasn't quite getting to the top. And I think some of that is that if you don't build enough power at the bottom, you don't get enough power in that stroke, it's hard to get the lockout. So really, that lockout is like with any other exercise, it's dynamic in nature. So you've got to get the glutes to launch you out of the bottom, right? You got to get those glutes firing hard, launch you out of the bottom, and then you can lock it. And I noticed that on the later sets. And I haven't looked at all the footage yet. I only looked at the last set. But that's going to be kind of the point. And you need to remember, it's not like something, this is not some exercise you're going to be able to hold some silly peak contraction on. This is a big, heavy compound. So you want to lift as explosively as you can with good form. And there's going to be a learning curve on this for me. Eventually, I might end up getting a special bench for it. If I really do this exercise the way I'm hoping I'm going to, and it becomes a mainstay, I'll consider it. But I do probably need to figure out what to do with blocks or something to set this up, because my bench is a little high for what I'm trying to do. It's a little bit on the high side, and that bench is somewhat high. I do notice it when I'm bench pressing as opposed to when I've gone to bench at commercial gyms or a competition bench. It is a little higher. Granted, it's rated to take 1,000 pounds though, so and it was at a good price, but it could stand to be shorter. And I notice it on the bench press, and I'm definitely noticing it on these. Just a taller than average bench, at least it feels like to me. So we're going to have a learning curve on these, and I felt like this set too, because it was me using this slightly heavier weight, not getting used to it yet, still not getting enough speed to really get that lockout. So there's going to be a motor pattern learning curve here too, and that's okay. Eventually I will get up to where I'm repping 500 pounds on these. And, when we get to that point, it should definitely be carrying over to my squat and my deadlift. But, yeah, new exercise for me. It's just one I don't have experience with. So I'm going to have to learn it. I'm going to have to build a strength base on it, build the motor patterns, use it to help with that muscle memory for the lost muscle in the lower body, and keep moving forward with it. But, I've got multiple exercises here that I'm going to have to build different sorts of work capacity and strength on. Pull-ups, I have to build the work capacity. I'm already pretty strong on those on most of my days when I'm only doing 3 sets, or when you guys have seen me do singles. So I've got to build work capacity there. We've just got to rebuild the deadlift completely and get that hook grip up to speed while rehabbing the lower back. This exercise we have to learn from square one. So I've got to build a base on it, and then I'll just get stronger at the cheek curls. And yes, I threw in the cheek curls at the end, and I want to remind people, yes, I'm doing them as a multi-joint exercise. And it's not that I don't think pull-ups build biceps. It's that for some reason in the whole YouTube world that people want disproportionately large biceps. I've noticed that most of your YouTubers who are popular have biceps that are too big for the rest of their body. They're disproportionate. People seem to want that. They care about arms. So throwing in an extra compound that works my biceps differently than my other big movements, that's a little more direct, it's fine. It'll be a bit of a finisher. And it'll probably be the one finishing type movement I do for now, other than maybe throwing face pulls or something later, or if I need to do more tricep work. But I'm getting 20 sets of heavy tricep work every week with all my pressing and dips. So, I don't think they can handle anymore. At least the biceps have recovery volume probably to work with. So we'll build this exercise up also. We'll get those pull-ups up to 5 sets. And I think combined with these, that will give me a little bit to push that bicep development forward a little bit, which, normally I don't care about as a strength athlete, but it'll probably matter for those YouTube dollars. As I get leaner, having a little more arm, when I drop another 15, 20 pounds of fat, it won't be a bad thing. I don't think it would be a bad thing for my outreach. So not that this is necessarily going to help me that much in any other way. It's purely an appearance and money thing, right? It's all about the money. That's it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.